Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Dreams Unveiled with Daun, Whittaker.
And Melissa Salazar. Hey, guys.
We're so happy to be hanging out with you today. And we have a dream to go over with you. And the dream, I think, is a very interesting thing. And it's really about finding your voice. I think the key to it is advocacy in a way. You know, and I think this is especially true since COVID. We need to be thoughtful and advocate for ourselves, advocate for our kids. We need to not be afraid to find our voice. And that's a confidence thing.
Yeah.
But we have a voice and we need to use it. And, you know, the first dream we're going to talk about is somebody who really didn't feel like they had a voice. So think about that. Are you good advocates? Do you take care of things? Are you a good advocate?
I'd like to say I'm a good advocate. I feel like, you know, confidence is definitely something that everyone could grow on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you need to know your hill to die on, right?
Yeah.
It's not everything.
Right. It's not everything. You can't make everything a little, what is it, molehills?
Yeah, right.
Our dreamer today is from Massachusetts.
It's our first Massachusetts,
Yeah.
Pittsfield, Massachusetts. Her name is Michelle.
Miss Michelle.
And let's see how advocacy and confidence play out in her dream. I'm going to read her dream. Alan, my husband, wanted to take my cell phone. Ooh, I do want to say one thing about this dream. This is a snippet. She couldn't remember it all.
Okay, so partial dream.
This is a partial dream, but there's a lot in it. Alan, my husband, wanted to take my cell phone and iPad because President Trump had issued an order stating all people had to turn them in. If done voluntarily, you would receive $700 or $800 for each one. I absolutely refused to give them up. Alan was insistent and scared of what would happen if I didn't comply. Ashley, my 15-year-old daughter, came into the room and asked what was going on, and I told her. So that is the snippet. So this is very clearly a dream about needing to find your voice and advocate for yourself. Mm-hmm. And it's important to know, first of all, that she wasn't parting with her things, right? She was absolutely not parting with her things. And think about iPad, cell phone. There are things where you have a voice.
Right, definitely your freedom of speech. It's a way of contacting anyone from the outside, too.
That's right. Social media.
Yeah.
And although it's misused often, nonetheless, it is still a platform.
Yeah.
So all of those things, it's your connection to people.
Yeah.
And that really is what it is. So this dream is about her being confronted with losing, being forced to give all of that connection and contact
a little scary.
That is scary.
I personally would not want to do that. I would definitely go with a fight.
I absolutely would too. Although in my head I think, well, if they took it for like 3 months, I might be okay. No,
yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I'll start homesteading.
Yeah, I think when I think of cell phones, sometimes it's like, you know, it's not just a phone. It's also like, it's your like calculator. It's your flashlight. It's, you know, calendar.
It's my to-do list.
Yeah, it's everything. It's everything. So, you know, taking away a phone is more than just taking
Absolutely.
away a phone.
Absolutely. It is very difficult. And just so you know, while we're talking to you, oh yeah, that's what I was going to tell you. Here, nobody wants to see your butt.
Get down, sweetie.
Now, before we go any further, one of the things I want to talk about is the family here that we're talking about. Michelle is the dreamer. She is wife and mother to Ashley. And Michelle indicates there is some division in their home around political issues. But I do want to preface that by saying this is not a political dream. It's just represented that way. The division is represented that way. She and her daughter, even though her daughter's too young to really vote or anything, but she and her daughter are much more liberal and her husband is much more conservative. So there definitely is that undertone going on in the house. But I really think what we're seeing here is a dream about feeling divided, feeling, well, and let me say that in a different way, feeling not united, not together. And I think that is really what the dream is. And there's little elements in here that I find very interesting. The first obviously being this voice. And just so you know, this doesn't have to be all about the marriage. There could be things in her work life, extended family life, all kinds of things that may have led to her feeling this way. So I think that's a possibility. But I think the marriage is really the big piece of it, seeing as how the imagery used was something that really is very family-centric in her case. So that's my thought on that. Well, let's take a look at some of the aspects of this. One of the things, forced compliance. You're being forced to comply with something, and I think most of us would have an issue with that. I want to say that, but will most of us do something about it? That's really the key, and I feel like the dream is challenging her to really stay steadfast and stay on the path that you're on, right? Yeah. That's what I feel that's about, because she absolutely was unwilling to give up her connection to the outside world. She was unwilling to give up her connection in her family, and to give up her opportunity or her platform to share with the world. So I think all of that is a big thing. I think the idea about the money was really profound, because it's not often you have dreams about like dollar amounts and things, but I think it was that was there to represent that the outside world really feels that this request is acceptable. It kind of created an acceptability to what is being asked.
Right, because it's a higher amount of money.
Yes, and it's a reward.
Right.
So I think that's probably what that is about, and she is still unwilling. Now, here's the other interesting thing. Her husband is genuinely, feeling uncomfortable that she's not willing to comply. Now, in talking to her, I didn't get the impression, because it's in the dream, when she was recounting the dream, she wrote that he was afraid because she wouldn't comply. I'm not so sure that was the fear based on our conversations. I think he was afraid that she was on the wrong side of things.
Right, instead of like being on like together and, making the decision together, they were just like, kind of like, you do your side, you do my side. Well,
and politically, it sounds like he believes he's right, she believes she's right. I really think that it wasn't about that he was afraid of the directive. He was afraid she was on the wrong side of it.
Yeah.
And that, something could happen to her. I mean, they love each other. I mean, they've been married for quite a long time. So I don't think this is anything, about the marriage falling apart or anything like that. I think he genuinely loves her and cares for her and is trying to protect her from being on the wrong side. That's it. I don't think this is that part is any more than that, but she is absolutely refusing. And she shared with her 15-year-old daughter, and her 15-year-old daughter is absolutely agreeing with her and feeling the same way. I love young people that age. I love when they're all in for, no, this is the hill. We're staying right here. We're not going anywhere. So I think that's really a big thing. What does this mean as far as in their marriage? I think what needs to happen, it may be time for the couple to really find their common ground and start
being on the same page about something.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be everything, but to have their own special thing that they can do together, that they can share, not something infrequently. I mean, something that really is part, like, maybe if they like reading books together or playing board games, or just sitting down at night and
doing something special with each other.
Yes, absolutely.
On the same on the same vibes.
So, and I don't think this is all, like I said, all about the marriage. I imagine when you're kind of a little polarized in a big issue like politics, especially in this day and age, you know, that there are people outside of your marriage that are also they're supporting one side or the other. And, you know, there's so much more than that. I think that's a real hard road to walk. And I'm sure that it's more than that. I really do have that feeling that it's more than that. But the key is that she knew she wasn't giving it up. Mm-hmm. And I think that's really great. I feel like that the dream was really affirming and saying, you stand up for yourself and you are not afraid to do so, and you're going to hold your ground.
Yeah.
The other thing I think is telling your daughter. And I believe that is just for validity, but really they probably talk about this stuff. Mm-hmm. And so they are on the same page. So, but she knew that, I think that Ashley was going to be like, that's ridiculous, we're not doing that, or however that played out. So I think that's a whole nother piece. So it really has something to do with the family dynamic, but overall, the dream positively is really about a sense for Michelle that she needs to stand up for herself. This dream is clearly about Michelle not feeling that her voice is being heard, that she's not being heard, that she does not have a voice, and she wants to and she needs to, and she is going to stand her ground. But it may be that she's being dismissed, or she doesn't feel safe to share her ideas, thoughts, and beliefs about things. Mm-hmm. And like I said, this doesn't necessarily happen to be inside of the marriage. It could be friends, family, however that works out. But I think the marriage is a big piece, that she does not feel heard, and that she is really working to find her voice in this. She is really looking to maintain her independence. And I think that's really a big thing. She is trying very hard to not be pressured or controlled into doing things that go against what she believes in. So keep it up, Michelle, because you will be very successful. You did not hand in your iPad and your phone. So in the dream, there's clear knowledge that you have the capacity to do this and the willingness. That's very reaffirming.
Yeah, yeah.
I think what's really interesting here is in the dream, she did stand her ground. Mm-hmm. She did have a voice. She was going to be heard. She was not going to be silenced. She was not going to be isolated.
Yeah, and I
feel in the dream.
Yeah.
And so the dream, but I think the dream is about that she feels that she is being isolated, that she is being silenced, that she is not being heard. So the dream is almost like...
It's a motivator.
And an affirmation. You can do this. You have this. You need to stand your ground. And, I think it's really important to understand, sometimes, especially when we're all living in the same house, that there are two kinds of people. There are really peacekeepers and peacemakers. I'm sure there's more than two types of people. Peacekeepers are the people that they just want no conflict, so they just band-aid everything and try and stop conflict quickly and just, make everything all sweet and kind and docile and no problem. And that's not really helpful. It is sometimes. If you're in a situation where you're working with a child who got very disruptive, like in a classroom or something, to get through the rest of the class, you may have to do something to placate that child. But you don't want to do that often, and you don't want to teach people that there is some reward to that behavior. Peacemakers are not afraid to go through conflict to get to peace, because sometimes you have to get through the conflict. You've got to talk about the hard things. Mm-hmm. You've got to let your voice be heard, and you've got to hear other people's voices too. And so I think this dream is really kind of putting all that forward for her.
Yeah.
So I think it's pretty awesome. So thank you, Michelle, for this dream. And thank you, Melissa, for hanging out with me today.
And then if you guys have any dreams that you guys want us to review on the podcast, you can reach us at
dreams@daunw.com. Daun with a U, w.com. And if you don't want to, just send us an email of your dream, and you have to make sure you have a really great way for us to contact you, because we will need to talk. I can't do this without you. You can go to the daunw.com website, daunw.com website, and there's a Dreams Unveiled tab, and there's a fillable PDF if you would prefer to fill that out. That would be fine too. Still email it to dreams@daunw.com. Like and share some more.
And subscribe.
That's right. Sweet dreams.
See ya.
Bye.